Azuma was an old campaigner, and he knew what an excessive amount of shadow energy in humans could do. To stop this madness, it was necessary to eliminate its source. Due to his neutralization skills, Azuma was able to weaken the shadow mind and imprison it. The energy that made up the shadow mind filled his canisters and suit, making Azuma the strongest paramedic in the world. Enhanced, Azuma continued his work, but now alone, preferring to do everything on his own. Under him, no disaster ever ended catastrophically. The defeat of the shadow mind was the work of Monk Shang, the man who served this deity. For the victory, he was rewarded with the promised power. But the wise monk knew that he could not handle such power alone, so he needed someone to share it with. His gaze fell on Kate. Before the girl could do anything, Shang infused some of his powers into her and forced her to merge with him, forming a new being, similar to the shadow mind, but much stronger, larger, and more dangerous. Now he is able to burn out any energy and magic of opponents and process it into shadow energy to use it as an important resource or weapon for himself. As long as Monk Shang is alive, the shadow mind won't be lost either. Since Kate was only the daughter of the liquidator and his replacement, no one expected her to be able to defeat the shadow mind itself. The fire of vengeance burning in Kate's heart helped her to make the shadow mind suffer as it dwindled and weakened. Soon the duty of retribution was fulfilled. Kate's father was avenged. But Kate knew that her adventures weren't over yet, they were just beginning. Sooner or later, a new enemy may appear on the horizon. And, as always, Kate will be ready to meet him or her, and win. After the shadow mind's body fell and froze, Jack Bulwark felt that he had moved somewhere at the speed of light. A second later, he was in his native timeline, in the future. However, he did not have to rejoice for long. He soon discovered with horror that he was the only survivor in his world, as the shadow creatures, before they disappeared, managed to eliminate all of humanity and destroy everything, including Jack's homeland, the New Legion. Jack Bulwark had to survive alone. Destroying the shadow mind wasn't the Fireguard's true target. After the victory, the bot left as if nothing had happened. A few days of wandering passed, and the Fireguard came across a stranger. She introduced herself as Mistress Nanami, and offered Fireguard a deal. The bot would help Nanami complete the work on the accelerator of particles that belonged to her, and in return, Nanami would help Fireguard complete his mission. It was a great chance to finish what he had started a few years ago, so Fireguard had to agree. Who knows, maybe Mistress Nanami will keep her word. Standing on top of the shadow mind's corpse, Ironclad was boasting to everyone. No one believed in him and that he would be able to fight barehanded and without any superpowers. Perseverance did the trick. The power bestowed by the shadow mind after its fall made Ironclad stronger, turning him into a mass destroyer and an unstoppable bone breaker. However, it also clouded his mind, making him insane and desiring more and more destruction. Now he threatens the entire world, and those who participated in the tournament will probably have to work together, for they face Ironclad Massive Destroyer. The shadow energy couldn't compare to the light that was inside Helga. The rightful heir to the Legion throne, she was unfairly imprisoned in the tower to be unable to compete. But now that she was in her prime, she was ready to take revenge on those who mocked her and her family. Together with General Marcus, she infiltrated the throne room and began slaughtering Queen Iolanda's bodyguards, the heralds. The queen herself, already Sybarized, shared their fate. That was what Helga called true justice. Wastelands, ravaged neighborhoods, corpses lying everywhere. That was the last thing Jet saw before she left her timeline to fix the past. After defeating the shadow mind, she and Jack Bulwark returned to the future. To Jet's disappointment, nothing had changed for the better. Now the dynasty, reunited with the heralds, was enduring the invasion of a new legion. That meant one thing: the peace treaty between Jet and Jack Bulwark was terminated. Now they are not friends to each other once more. The tournament was over. There, Ling defeated the shadow mind thanks to his intelligence and cunning. But this celebration was covered with tragedy. Kibbo was killed. Before her death, Kibbo asked the blacksmith, as an experienced herald, to lead her school of iron beaks. Ling, not daring to refuse her, agreed to help her. He now leads the iron beaks. Together with his new students, he defends the dynasty from the invaders. Ling's best student, Arclight, is about to become a master. Hongju did not kill the shadow mind, because he was not a warrior, but a combat acrobat. The only thing Hongju asked him to do was to restore his circus troupe, which the acrobat used to perform with. The wish was granted. Due to his victory over the shadow mind, Hongju took advantage of great fame among the dynasts and, to their great joy, replaced the former leader of the circus team, a fakir named Camel. The fall of the Shadow Squad was the fault of heralds, and Sarge knew it firsthand. That was why, after defeating the Shadow Mind, his next target was the Dome. After agreeing with Kate and Helga, Sarge went with them and the other liquidators there. While Kate and Helga were dealing with the heralds, Sarge challenged Chancellor Bolo to a duel, and he did something that even General Marcus could not do before. Defeated the Chancellor one-on-one and finished him off. It was one less target. Defeating the shadow mind didn't give Yuka anything. Her heart still ached with longing for her loved ones who had been unjustly killed by the Legion. Her wild gaze fell on the leaders, the Legion Queen and Herald's boss, Islander, and the Dynasty Emperor. Their deaths should signal the end of factional divisions and the beginning of a new era. Until Yuka does this, she can't afford to stop. After the fall of the shadow mind, Kibbo felt satisfied, as if she did everything possible. She had revenged herself on him for her last defeat. Now, with the power granted to her as the victor and slayer of the shadow mind, Kibbo has become the new mistress of this world. With the help of her students as messengers and bodyguards, she keeps an eye on every corner of the world. No threat is hidden from the eyes of Grand Lady Kibbo. The Shadow Beast was holding on to the Dynasty Emperor for too long. It was already ready to take away total control of the monarch. Time was short, and the Emperor had to challenge the Shadow Mind to a duel. The monarch, even exhausted, was still able to destroy the Shadow Mind. But the relief was short-lived, as the energy from the Shadow Mind eventually took possession of the Emperor. The enhanced Shadow Beast still captured the brain and completely absorbed the ruler's body, forever. The Emperor of the dynasty no longer existed. He disappeared without a trace. Having entered the tournament against his will, Marcus did everything possible to not only hold out, but also leave the tournament with a complete victory over the Shadow Mind. Deep down, the general knew that he had had enough of adventure. All the crazy experiences and battles Marcus had been through had tired him out, and he longed for rest. Moreover, he was already forgotten by everyone except his acquaintances and friends, and no one would bother him. So Marcus was granted with a well-deserved retirement. Finally, he found the long-awaited peace. Midnight was good at her job, eliminating. The Shadow Mind was a powerful opponent, the strongest Midnight had ever faced. But the Herald's skill, dexterity, and tactical skills were able to surpass the powers of the Shadow Energy deity. Strengthened, Midnight was ready for new missions, more difficult than the previous ones. Soon, she had a new task: to destroy a certain assassin named Lynx, who, apparently, was a priority threat to Midnight's employer. For a long time, Lynx was notorious for the deeds of his order of assassins, mostly killing people. But the Shadow Mind's death brought Lynx not only a lot of money, but also an inexplicable power that strengthened the assassin's demonic nature. Now people should be afraid and look around, so as not to be killed unexpectedly. There is no mercy for them, for no, Lynx has become tougher and no longer spares anyone.